In the gallant days when history hung on the flight of an arrow or the slash of a sword, when feudal barons ravaged the countryside to live in pomp and splendor.
It is truly colorful, exciting, fascinating entertainment every minute of the way.
Moonsea Adventures.
Hello and welcome to the Moonsea Adventures. We have a hardy crew of adventurers, and they are going to be entering the next phase of their campaign. And before we dig in, we'll have everybody introduce themselves, and I will start with Veet. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your character, Harley.
Hi. Harley is Hexblade Warlock. He's Changeling, and he's specialized in reconnaissance and spying.
Excellent. And Matt, tell us about Angler.
Angler is a Kenku rogue who wears a plague doctor mask on his face to hide that he's a Kenku, and a black trench coat that runs down like his ankles. He has a background in criminal stuff.
Nice. Marie, tell us about your character, Ushun.
Ushun is a female half-orc. She's a big girl, known to get really angry and do some extra damage. Carries a big-ass halberd. A big halberd.
Yes, she does.
A big tush pump.
You guys have been joined by Niels. Niels, tell us about your character for this campaign.
Yeah, I'm playing Syllar, a Wood Elf Ranger. I've got my traveler's clothes over my scale mail, and basically I'm all ready for hard fights.
Nice. So how we met, this is the game that we're going to play. So the region that is kind of to the northeast of the port city of Flynn is the Thar, and the Thar is a wild and dangerous place. Miles and miles of kind of swampy land, very desolate. And there's only one overland trade route that connects two distinct areas along the Moonsea. And the area between Melvaunt, the port city of Melvaunt, and the inland city of Glister to the north of the Thar, near the Galena Mountains. There's one route that connects those two places overland, and it is a dangerous route to traverse, but it is also a lucrative trade route because it's the only overland route to get inland from the Moonsea to Glister. And so a lot of trade companies will hire scouts and mercenaries to escort their caravans across the Thar, across this dangerous place. And on one such occasion, Ushun was hired for her expertise in combat and her ferocity in being able to deal with bandits, with hordes that attack, raiders. And Syllar, you were hired for your expertise in scouting, tracking, and basically also kind of your familiarity with these outlandish areas. So you guys are traveling, and you're about halfway through the journey. You've made it about I'm going to say 60 miles, let's say, and you are approaching the hills near Fangjaw's Hold. And this is a patch of hills that ranges for about 20 miles, kind of in the middle, like central east of the Thar. And you know that this area is dangerous because historically this is where a lot of the ogres had kind of run amok through the Thar. And you know that it's kind of an area to be cautious in. But at the same time, there haven't been any sightings of ogres in this area in about a decade. So you're cautious, but you're also kind of like aware and kind of confident. And as you, in this caravan of 4 trade carts, trade wagons, as you guys are kind of cresting this hill, you come up over this hill, and below you, you see a large creature, which you very well feel could be an ogre. What's odd about him is that he is crawling on all 4s, like almost like an animal. And he doesn't seem to have seen you. So he is about 90 feet away. And you guys are on point. You're responsible for directing the trade caravan to where it should go and what it should do. So you see this up ahead. What do you do?
Call a halt to the whole troop of cars.
Okay. They do. They kind of stop. Ushun, what do you do?
I get my halberd ready.
Okay.
I'm looking at the thing.
Make I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to give you a choice between Arcana or Medicine. You can make either one of those checks that you probably don't have proficiency in.
No, I don't. So here we go. Let's see how this dice goes. Okay, that's not bad. 16.
You can sense that this ogre does not seem well. Like, he's crawling on all 4s and seems kind of like just moving awkwardly in a stilted fashion, and you can't really see his face. He hasn't apparently heard you because he hasn't turned around to face you guys, but he's kind of crossing the road on all 4s, kind of in a crawling fashion, in a very sporadic movement, almost spasmic kind of muscle movements, like twitching and then moving and then
Are we the only 2 caravan guards?
No, there are 2 other guards that are split up between the other 2 wagons behind you guys.
Okay.
They are longbowmen. They are not adept at melee.
Okay, I yell back, I'm going up there, cover me.
Okay, so Syllar, what are you going to do when Ushun says this?
I'm going to ride along with her.
I tell you to stay back.
Are you stealthing up there?
No, stealth. I'm holding my halberd at rest, and I'm grabbing my water skin, and I'll get to within 10 feet of the thing.
Okay, before you do that, you're not being stealthy.
No.
It when you're about 30 feet away, it seems to hear you, and it turns, and you notice that upon seeing its face now, you notice several things. Number one, its eyes are very like foggy and kind of like encrusted with like pus. Like they're very damp and like pussy, as if they had an eye infection. And the eyes are very irritated and red, like bloodshot eyes. Not like supernaturally red, like glowing red, but like literally the red from irritation.
Pink eye.
The other thing you see is that it has snot coming out of its nose, and it's foaming at the mouth. And you've never seen an ogre like look like this or behave like this in this fashion. But it sees you, and it like kind of snorts. It's like, and it starts crawling towards you. Not fast, just slowly.
I throw it the water skin.
You throw the water skin to it?
Yeah.
That is a thing that I did not anticipate. It is confused by this water skin, and it stops. It stops approaching you for a minute, and it looks at the water skin, and it looks at you. Make a persuasion check. Let's see if you can actually break through this.
Persuasion.
I would say animal handling, but it's not quite there yet.
14.
That's pretty good. It continues to pause. Smash cut to Syllar. You see this interaction. You're like 20 feet back.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a moment there where you were certain that this ogre was going to charge Ushun, but now it seems like to be like it's stopped and it's looking at this water skin, and then it looks back up at Ushun, and you see her like pantomiming to drink it, and it picks up the water skin and it like sniffs it, and then it kind of bites into the water skin and like tears it open, and water splashes at it, and then it looks down and it just seems disappointed, and it drops the torn up water skin and it looks back up at Ushun, and it snorts and growls again. It's like,
Okay, getting that halberd ready.
it's going to move towards you. So all of you guys roll initiative. Ooh, not good. You guys might be in luck. Syllar, what'd you have?
6.
Ushun, what'd you have?
12.
6? Really?
Yep. Well, getting the low rolls out first.
Yeah, I guess that's good. Ushun, you see it's coming towards you. You get first dibs. You're first up in initiative.
Now I have reach on this halberd.
Yeah. So you want to hit it when it's 10?
Well, I want to do what is that? Non-lethal damage to it, but yeah, I do want to hit it. I'm basically trying to keep it away.
Okay. So you hit it as it's rushing you.
Oh, I do. Cool. Okay. Got to get used to this darn thing here. Okay. 5. I don't have a damage die on this.
I'll roll for you. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I don't know what the dice is.
Yeah. So you have a halberd.
Yeah.
12. Let me double check.
Oh, it isn't even on here. Huh. Okay. Never mind. I'll get my book. Okay. Sorry about this, peoples.
1d10 plus your strength bonus.
Okay. That's better.
Yeah, D10.
Huh. 6.
Okay, 6 total is not bad. Not bad.
That's non-lethal.
Okay. Syllar, you see this thing coming, and you see Ushun slam it with the blunt end of her halberd, and it kind of like knocks the ogre in the head, but the ogre's still rushing towards her with the intent to. You see as he's moving forward like on all fours like an animal, and his mouth is open, and his big hands and claws are rushing forward.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I recognize her non-lethal attempt.
Yes.
So I'm going to use my longbow and do a non-lethal, try and hit him in the arm.
Okay.
Net 1. Oh my god. All right, dice jail.
The arrow flies by. Ushun, the ogre moves in to attack you. Now he is not armed. He doesn't have a club or a javelin or anything. This is just straight up. He's just going in an animalistic kind of fashion. And you see he aims to. He's trying to grab at you, and he does. He successfully grabs you. So you need to make an opposed strength check. So he has a 19 strength, and so do you, actually.
Yes, I do.
So it's actually an athletics check, so which you have proficiency in. So go ahead and make your roll.
Hey, 21.
Oh, you were so lucky. I rolled a 16 for him, so he gets it's +4. So he grabs you, and I mean, you feel the strength and rage of this creature, and you could smell, by the way, now that he's this close to you, that that sickly smell that seems to be like that, the pus that was in his eyes. There's just like a sickly smell. And you like, elbow him in the gut and kind of break out of the grapple just in time. Top of the order. It's back to you.
Well, I guess I'll have to hit him for real.
Okay.
And I am going to hit him for real.
Make
That's an 18.
That's a hit for sure.
Okay. And a D10 plus a whole bunch. That's 15.
Oh. Now he's hit. All right. Syllar, you see this interaction playing out again, like you could tell now that things have shifted. Ushun's not trying to be nice anymore. It looked like that ogre, if he had grappled her, would have like bitten into her skull. Like he literally is behaving like well, let's see. You're familiar with nature and animals. He's behaving like a rabid animal, like a rabid wolf, or something that it's like whatever vestige of like cognitive reasoning that he had is gone. He's not wearing weapons. He doesn't seem to have any food or anything with him. He's just in rags, and he is covered in dirt and snot and everything. So you're up.
All right. Yeah, I want to spur my horse on, basically kind of run him over with my horse. Meanwhile, shifting to my short swords.
I'm going to have you make a animal handling check.
19.
You succeed. Now you're going to make a charge attack for your horse. So just roll and I'll tell you the efficacy of your charge attack.
That's an 8.
8 on the dice?
Yeah, 8 on my D20.
That's fine. Roll a D6 for damage for me. So your horse kind of stomps.
Yeah, that's a 3.
3? So he kind of stomps the ogre and the ogre kind of falls onto his stomach, but then he gets back up and he swings out and kind of claws towards Ushun.
Yeah. Might I still be able to, having shifted to my short sword, to also whack him with my sword, or would that be a bit too much?
It's a bit too much. If you had your short sword out before and not your longbow, then I would say yes.
Yeah.
You can do that next round, though. You can turn about and do a drive. Ushun, armor class 14.
I think so. I got armor class 11. So what he's doing to me, he's doing to me.
Okay. So he claws out at you for 5 damage. And you feel this huge, this hammer-like hand claw out at back to you, top of the order.
I'm going to use my halberd and trying to pin him.
Okay. Make an attack roll with the halberd.
Okay, that is 24.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
9.
I'm going to say that that effectively it's, I don't know if this would be like the same as a disarm, but I'm going to say that you effectively pin him for this round. He is unable to break free, which now puts you, Syllar, into a position where on your attack, you can attack with advantage. So you turn your horse around and you do a drive-by and swing. Go ahead and make your attack roll with advantage.
All right. Yeah, gonna need that. Jesus Christ. I'm going to switch cameras for you. This is
Double
terrible.
1 and a 2.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Somehow you ride by and miss. He tries to break free. Let me make a roll. But fails. Ushun, you're up. You still have him pinned.
Okay, I move around and the halberd is twisting in his wound to above his head.
Okay.
So his body is outstretched in front of me and I'm holding on. I'm not doing anything. And I look at Syllar and I say, what?
Roll me half damage. So roll me a d6.
Okay. That's 2.
All right, 2 plus your strength is
Oh.
you grind,
Oh wait, that's 6.
halberd into his chest, into his back as you kind of rotate around. Which again, Syllar, now you turn around and you're able to ride back. You get one more shot with advantage.
I was going to say I'm going to jump off my horse.
Okay.
And just try it again.
Okay.
A little bit more stationary. That's a 15.
Yes.
We still get the advantage?
Yes.
All right. And that's an 11. So 15 plus 4.
That's a hit.
Yep. And so 7 plus... Oh, wait. Wrong die. That's 6 damage.
He is dead. You see that as you swing by, he collapses on the ground, and there's like one last gasp of exhalation and snot and foam from his mouth. So you guys are standing over this this ogre.
Yeah, get someone from the caravan who knows something about medicine. I think this thing is sick.
Okay. So you guys take a few minutes, and essentially what you determine.
I'm staying pinning it.
You're staying there. Okay.
I'm pinning it.
Yeah, it doesn't get up. And
I don't care.
Tyler, you run back and you grab one of the not the escorts, but one of the caravan drivers who's kind of familiar with nature and medicine. And he kind of examines this ogre, and his assessment ends up being, and I rolled pretty well for him. Yeah, he rolled a 17. So he's like, you are quite right, Ushun. This creature is sick, or was. Some sort of deep infection, an irritation that perhaps even created fevers which deteriorated its mind. Perhaps that's what drove it to this madness and this behavior that you saw it demonstrating. Very odd. I have not seen this sort of thing. I've in fact not even heard of this sort of thing.
Well, now I'm worried, and I show him the scratch.
He says, let me tend to that, and come. So you go back by the wagon. He opens up this pouch and he pulls out like a bunch of salves. He cleans your wound and puts these salves on it and bandages it. 2 days later, you turn into a zombie. No, I'm just kidding. You guys continue traveling, and you do not see any evidence of any strange infection whatsoever. You make the journey. Actually, you get to your destination. You get paid in Glister, and then you pick up another caravan, and that caravan is heading back towards Melbourne. So you decide to go back towards Melbourne, and you travel together there. And then,
I inform all the guards on this caravan what we came upon coming here, and I said, you just gotta kill him and try not to get scratched or bit. Probably bit is the thing, because I got scratched and I didn't get sick, but still.
So
don't get bit.
On the way back, you have not in the same spot. Okay, further south, as you're actually coming out of the Thar towards Melvaunt, you encounter some strange coyotes that seem to indicate a similar infection. And these coyotes are rabid, foaming at the mouths. Their eyes are irritated and blistered red. And they're like mangy, like their fur is all like mottled. Some of it's fallen out. And they are not undead. They're very much alive, but they're super aggressive and just, almost ravenous and rabid. And you guys and the other guards take them out, but it's like kind of disturbing when you see this. And one of the other guards even is like, should we burn the bodies? We have oil. Should we burn them?
Up to you.
So they're kind of hesitant to touch the bodies, but they kind of get some sticks and kind of put them into a pile, dump oil on them, and then they light it and then they, get away. So you guys continue, you make it back to Melvaunt. And then while you're in Melvaunt, you are able to pick up another job that takes you back to Flan. And
I inform the caravan company, the people who gives us our caravans, about this problem going through Thar.
Yeah, you do, and they tell you that like they have just heard of this being a problem in other places too, like along the land trade route between Melvaunt and Thentia, and that there have been no reports of people exhibiting this sickness. Mostly animals and occasionally large creatures like ogres. But so far, no people have exhibited any of these symptoms. You guys make your way back to Flan. And so by this time, Syllar and Ushun, you've gotten to know each other. You've, traveled and adventured together. And Ushun, you happen to mention to Syllar that you have a couple friends in Flan, Harley and Angler, who you've done some work with. And you mentioned that maybe you guys will find some adventures together when you get to Flan. And sure enough, you arrive in Flan and you find yourselves at the Inn of the Thirsty Whale, which is a common rowdy, kind of scummy sort of tavern with a barn in the back that has just a bunch of cots and bunk beds for people to crash out in. But it's also a fun place. There's quite frequently a lot of like contests of strength, arm wrestling, straight up just full on wrestling, boxing matches. There's a lot of gambling that goes on in the Thirsty Whale. So, and there's even musicians that come and play the Thirsty Whale. Sometimes like the reputation of the Thirsty Whale draws people to it. And you'll get, people who are just coming into port from a ship and they've heard about this legendary place, and then they get there and they find that it's not that special. But nonetheless,
what town is this in again?
This is in Flan.
What about the other place?
Melvaunt?
You live there.
No, I mean the other inn where the boss man is.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's like a little more upscale. So when you get to the Thirsty Whale is when you find Harley and Angler, and they're actually in a large crowd of people who are circled up, and they are betting on, there's like a whole bunch of gambling going on. Okay. There are two foes facing off in the boxing ring. One is a dwarf and one is a rock gnome. So they're both kind of, smaller scale, so to speak. The dwarf is definitely bulky, and he seems like he's been in the ring quite a few times. And there's a lot of people betting on him. The rock gnome has a slighter build, but he does not seem phased at all by the opponent that he faces. So you kind of walk in as, the introductions of the two opponents are taking place. Harley, you and Angler have a unique opportunity as well. You can bet. They are taking bets. on the dwarf or the rock gnome. So if you want,
I'm just telling you, man. 15 gold on that rock gnome. I think he'll win it. Okay. You know what's going on.
I'll put 20 up there
okay. All right. So you guys
on
are
the rock gnome.
you guys are putting 20 on the rock gnome, and the 20 gold, when it goes up onto the rock gnome, and they call it out, the guy that's on the chalkboard writes it up there, and it literally changes the odds. Like there's this uproar. And so this is Syllar. It's the first time you've ever been to this port city of Flan, but you follow Ushun in and you see this going on. Ushun, you walk over, and you guys all see each other now.
Hi guys. Syllar, you can watch this if you want. I wouldn't advise wasting your money on betting, but if you're that kind of person, that's fine. I'm gonna pick up the tooth and go out and try to sell it.
Okay.
So I'm not even gonna watch this.
You're not sticking around for the bare knuckle boxing
Yeah.
match, right?
I
So
like to participate.
Syllar,
I
are
was
you
waiting
betting?
for it.
Hi, fellows. So you're friends of Ushun?
I'm gonna write on my board. Yes.
Yeah, we are. Come on, man. I grab him like by the
He's drunk
shoulders and-
already.
So
Come on, man. The rock gnome, it's 100% win.
so
You can bet everything. Everything.
the rather plain looking human man is wearing a top hat and has kind of he has kind of like a very drunken gentleman kind of vibe going on, while his smaller associate you're not really sure as you're just initially glancing, because his smaller associate has like a plague doctor mask and like a hat, and it's kind of hard to identify based on the clothing, and did not speak, rather wrote down on a slate in chalk his choices.
Yeah.
So do you choose to bet,
Right.
or do you stand by?
No, I'm gonna. So what did you? Who and what did you bet on?
I'm gonna look over to Harley.
I'm talking to Harley. Yeah.
You know, I see potential in that rock gnome. Yes, the dwarf is sturdy little bastard, but you'll see. The rock gnome is the number one. I saw those guys back in my home.
Just write on my slate monk.
I'm gonna take that action. I'm gonna put 10 on the dwarf.
10 on the dwarf. Awesome. I love that.
You cannot see the glare that's going your way.
You know that we'll be richer by your money.
I'm gonna have a good dinner on your.
Well, it's the possibility, but you know, we will see.
All right. So
Let's
here's
fight already.
We're gonna get a drink.
anywhere. There are 3 different serving places in this tavern. There's 3 little bars. So I'm going to do something that I've never done before, which
Fight
is
yourself.
I'm going to use the D&D fight simulator, which should be fascinating. If it works. Oh man, come on, don't let me down. All right, here we go. D&D fight simulator. So we have the dwarf versus the rock gnome. round one, ding. So like the guy calls it off and the crowd cheers, and you see the dwarf like rush in towards the rock gnome, and it looks like he's going to try to like tackle and wrestle the rock gnome down. The rock gnome runs back 3 feet and jumps backwards and springs off the wall over the dwarf, evading him acrobatically. They both turn to each other. They strike out at each other. They're kind of blocking and ducking. Nothing happens there. The dwarf, oh my God, what are the odds? I rolled the same thing for both of them. You see the dwarf hammer the rock gnome, like just in the jaw, but the rock gnome hits the dwarf at the same time. It's just like this battle of mini titans.
They punch each other in the face.
Then the dwarf makes a fatal error. He tries to tackle the rock gnome again, and the rock gnome jumps out of the way and kicks him on the way down. And you hear the dwarf make like a oof sound. The rock gnome again turns and kicks him again. And the crowd is now losing their minds. Uh-oh. The dwarf gets up in anger and he swings at the rock gnome, at which point the rock gnome ducks out of the way and kicks the dwarf in the head, knocking him to the ground. I rolled a nat 20 for the rock gnome. And the crowd loses their minds, right? The dwarf is on the ground. The ref is counting. He does an 8 count. The dwarf is unconscious. The rock gnome wins. And you now, having bet 20 gold, you go to collect and you get 40 gold. And you see a lot of people are very surprised that the rock gnome did not win the fight.
See, man, I told you. I knew that.
Ushun, you are able to find somebody who collects rarities, oddities, and curios. And he looks at you and he says, "Where did you find this specimen?"
In a place where they collected teeth.
I see. Yes, this could be used for jewelry. I suppose I could purchase it from you for, let's say, 4 gold pieces.
I thought it was like that big.
Yeah.
Oh. How much?
How about 4 gold pieces? I could give you silver if you'd prefer 40 silver.
Well, you know, there's an interesting story behind that. And I tell them parts of the story, featuring me, of course. And I show him the necklace I got from the goblin shaman.
Okay.
Negotiation.
Yes.
Kidding of undead.
You can make a persuasion check.
Oh boy. I'm not lying about anything.
Yeah, that's why it's persuasion.
12.
He says, "This is interesting. That story could be of value to someone. I suppose I could give you an additional 2 gold, say 6 gold pieces." You are more than welcome to visit another shop, I'm sure.
No, it's all right. You know, there were 4 of us, so I'm not too good at math. So could you make it an even 8?
I suppose I could, yes.
I would be greatly appreciative. And for that extra 2, I will tell you where I got it and tell him where he can find another bag of smaller teeth. Ooh. In that place, because I left that there.
Now that is a deal. Huh. And he jots down the information, and then he counts out the gold and he hands you the 8 gold. I might have misconstrued that. Matt, did you say Angler threw in an additional 5, or did you put in 20 of your own gold?
I put in 20 of my own.
Oh, okay. So then you get 40 and Harley gets 30. So basically you
exactly.
Okay, got it. I thought you his gold and throw in your own. So you get 40, he gets 30.
Could I reverse pickpocket 5 gold to a Syllar? Just like drop it in a random pocket.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
That's a sleight of hand. You could do that.
I'm gonna go to the temple and make sure
21.
Jaunt gets his 2 gold.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go back to these guys and I give them each 2 gold.
Okay.
And I'll keep the last.
And upon getting back, now that this round of fighting has, died down, it's the inn has returned to its normal pack of people drinking in the middle of the day, not super loud. You guys are able to find like a corner table, and Ushun, you and Syllar kind of fill in Angler and Harley about this recent outbreak of this strange sickness that has somehow afflicted animals, and you describe your encounter with the ogre and the coyotes and some of the other rumors that you've heard from other people about how this sickness has kind of been in the region. As you guys are talking about this, Syllar, you see a large half-orc man approaching your table. And he looks like probably like middle-aged, like maybe like 40s, but like still very solidly, strongly built. And you see he walks up and he taps Harley on the top of his top hat. And Angler, you like kind of out of the corner of your eye, you see dens. And Harley, you kind of like look up at who's tapping your top hat, and you see it's Dens. And he looks down and he says, "Are you lot looking for a job? Captain Leto's got work if you're interested."
We'll be there in a minute.
He looks
Okay.
He looks across the table, and then he looks at Syllar, and then he looks at Angler, and he says, "Is she with you now?"
Gonna nod my head.
Yeah.
"Come up to Leto's office in about a half hour." And he turns and he walks off. So,
There, Harley.
Okay.
I could use some food.
Okay. I picked 2 gold you gave me. I gave it to the innkeeper and, hey, give this pretty lady everything she wants.
they bring over a platter that has a hunk of beef, a half of a loaf of bread, 6 strips of bacon, and half a dozen cooked potatoes. And they just set it on the table and they're like, "Your feast."
Thanks. And I try to eat it in a civilized manner, but after a while fiddling around with the knife, the dagger and whatever, I just pick up the thing and start munching on it. Toss the potatoes in my mouth.
Yeah, it's a pretty hearty platter.
Yeah.
And they
I
bring,
give Harley a strip of bacon.
for that much gold, they bring another pitcher of ale. So you guys have more than enough for everybody to eat and have drinks. So you guys, after about a half an hour, you head uptown and you get to the, as you're heading uptown to go meet with Captain Leto, you see a familiar face. Syllar, you see this kid, this human kid, who just looks dirty. He's not even wearing shoes. His pants are kind of torn and they're almost like shorts. And instead of a leather belt, he has a piece of rope that holds his pants up. And he has a shirt on that looks like it was a man's shirt, and that like he just tore the sleeves off. So it's kind of like a shirtless or a sleeveless shirt that's much too big for him. And you see this ratty kid walk up as you guys are walking towards the inn, and he looks up and he says, hey, Harley, Angler.
Yeah, Raimi. What's up? Have you bought the shoes I gave you the money for?
Not yet. I had to use the money on something else. It was really important. But hey, listen, have you guys heard about the ship that just came in? They won't unload it.
I'm listening.
He says,
and I'm sober in a second.
He leans in and he says that there's a ship in the docks, and the harbor master won't let them unload it because he said it's got something in there that they don't want coming into the city. So it's in some word that means that it can't come in. Quarantine.
Quarantine.
Yeah, that's it. It's in quarantine. But I don't know what's in it, but it must be worth something. Anyway, that's what I heard. So, if you hear any more, if it looks like it's worth something, tell me. Let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
Here is gold for you for a trouble. But
thanks, man. And he takes the gold, and you see he like bites down on it. He's like, thanks, and he runs off.
Next time I will see those new shoes.
Yeah, I promise. And then he runs off down this alley. You guys continue walking. You get to the inn, and you go in. The innkeeper nods, recognizing you. You go up the stairs, down the hall, and you see Dens, the large half-orc man, standing outside of the door. He's actually sitting on a stool. He sees you guys, and he knocks on this door, and you hear a voice inside that says, "Come in." Dens opens up the door, and you enter an average looking room in an inn, but it looks like it's been set up as kind of an office. There's plenty of seating. There's actually like a small area with like a wash basin and like shelves that have several bottles of wine and a small cask. There's like a dining area, but then there's a desk, and behind the desk are shelves that are organized very precisely. And you see on these shelves, there are literal stacks of coin in different denominations, like stacks of copper, stacks of silver, stacks of gold. And they're organized by quantity and amount. The man that you see seated at the desk, who gestures for you to sit down across from him, is a middle-aged human man with kind of like wavy brown, like dark brown hair with gray in the sides. And he's kind of clean shaven, but he has like a stubble. And he gestures for you to sit down, and you see him look at Ushun, and he says, "How you doing, Ushun?"
Fair.
He looks over at Syllar and he says, "I'm Captain Leto. What can I call you?" He looks at Syllar.
Yeah, you can call me Syllar.
So
I'm a friend of Ushun.
I vouch for him.
So we have a client. Let me just summarize, Syllar, the way that the Red Plumes work. Sometimes we get wealthy clients who want to hire us to do certain things. Oftentimes, these tasks are perfectly legal. Perhaps surveying land, exploring, escorting, expeditions. Sometimes the clients prefer to keep their business private. This is one of those circumstances in which the clients have requested to keep things private.
Understand?
Now, as long as you are okay with this, I can give you an overview of the job. You decide whether you want to take the job. If you commit to taking the job, you sign the contracts. You get, in some cases, an advance on your payment. And then upon completion of the job, you get the rest of the balance of the payment. Now, all of you, with the exception of Syllar, have worked for the Red Plumes and proven yourselves to be trustworthy. This particular job is fairly well paying, but also possibly quite dangerous and in some circumstances illegal. There is currently a ship in the harbor that is in quarantine. Whatever is on it, the harbor master did not give approval to unload the cargo.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so?
Well, that's the mystery. No one really knows what the harbor master found on that ship. If it's smuggled goods or if it's something else. The problem is that our client needs for that ship to unload its cargo. And if it can't do that in Flan, the next closest port where it could do that would be Melvaunt. The client is looking to have a crew take that ship to Melvaunt.
Mm-hmm.
And you want us to persuade the harbor master or
Well,
deal with the cargo?
well, here's the thing. The client owns the ship and owns the cargo. So what the client is asking is to steal his own ship. You're not really stealing a ship if you're taking that ship out of port and going to another port for the person who owns it. But he doesn't really want anyone to know that he owns it, and he doesn't want anybody to know that he's hired a group of people to steal that ship and sail it to another port. Now, none of you are sailors. He looks around the room, but I have a crew of sailors. What I need are a crew of people who can get those sailors on the ship at night and get them out of the port past any guards so that they could get to sea without being detected, and to safely get that ship back to Melvaunt where it can unload its cargo.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you want us to make sure the sailors get on the ship.
Yep.
And make sure the ship leaves. We don't have to leave with it, do we?
Oh, you need to leave with it. Because if I had to guess, my guess is that somebody is going to send ships after this ship.
I'll change my appearance to my
And don't do that.
default state, like white skin, silvery gray hair, blue eyes, and really featureless face. We are yours to command, but you know what I want. I don't care about money.
Don't do that. It's creepy, man.
And I'll change back.
He says, Leto says, there's more information to help you prepare, but I need to know if you're in or out. And
Count me in.
Suppose I can figure out a way. No, I can't.
The completion of the job requires you not only to be on the ship to escort the sailors safely to Melvaunt, but it does require you, perhaps along the way, to defend the ship from other interested parties who might want to steal its cargo. And that could mean defending the ship against rivals of the business that is hiring us.
Yeah.
So, assuming that you're in, I have the contracts. And Leto a contract, he reviews it with you guys, in which it basically summarizes that the Red Plumes are going to pay you to get the sailors on board the ship, get out of the harbor of Flan, escort and stay with them until they get to Melvaunt and make sure that the cargo is unloaded to their contact in Melvaunt. And that will summarize the job. Each one of you will get an advance of 50 gold pieces. And upon completion, you will get 200 gold pieces each.
That's some cargo.
Well, once you sign the contract, we'll go into more of that.
One question before I sign.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of ship is this? Is this one of these rowing ships or one of these wind type ships?
It's a sailing ship. It's a caravel.
Okay.
You won't be that far out into the Moonsea. My guess is that they're going to stay pretty close to the coast. If you go too far out in the Moonsea, then you're dealing with other problems. A lot more pirates out in the central, deeper parts of the Moonsea. So my guess is that they'll stay pretty close to the coast and try to bring the ship into Melvaunt by dawn. The most important part is that you get the crew of sailors on the ship tonight. As soon as it's dark, the sooner you leave, the better.
Now, this contract, is it one piece of paper that we all sign, or is it? Oh, okay. Because I don't want to get caught with this contract. Okay.
He goes, no, just like all the normal jobs, I'm the intermediary between the client and the Red Plumes. So if by some chance you get caught, you honestly don't know who the client is.
We have plausible. I just learned a new phrase, plausible deniability.
That's right. And should the authorities who catch you try to employ any sort of magic divination that would compel you to tell the truth, you would in fact be telling the truth because you do not know who the client is. Thus, the client's discretion will be honored. Now,
how many sailors?
He pulls out a map and he shows you the map of Flan, and he indicates to you where this ship is along the docks. He tells you that there is a skeleton crew of 14 sailors, and that they are going to basically be waiting for your call. Okay. And he shows you there's a warehouse at the entrance to the harbor, and that's where the crew is going to meet you. You are responsible for figuring out the way to get around the guards and getting them onto the ship, and then the rest of the way making sure that the ship makes it into Melvaunt and unloads the cargo.
Will there be any personnel on the ship already?
No.
That need to be subdued or anything?
When the ship came in to harbor this morning, it was inspected. Harbor master went onto the ship and questioned the entire crew. The crew of the ship that brought it in were taken to the constabulary, and they were put into quarantine, and the cargo was not allowed to be unloaded. So the ship is basically in the harbor now, and it's anchored, and your job will be to get that crew onto it.
So it's unmanned. All right.
And the crew that you're bringing onto it is not the crew that was on it before. That's an important thing that you should understand.
Before you give away any more secrets, I go up, grab a quill, and I'll sign on a dotted line.
Okay. He passes the contract around. Each one of you sign it unless you say otherwise.
Is there a possibility I would see a harbor master in the past?
Well, you know that there are multiple harbor masters, but yeah,
Okay.
you know where their office is. You know how they operate. You also know, and once everybody signs the contract, Captain Leto tells you that typically at nightfall, since no ships are allowed to come into dock at nightfall, that it's a little less crowded. The docks are basically guarded, but they have rotating guards who kind of walked different shifts. He says that, typically there's 2 guards on, 2 guards off, and then they rotate every 15 minutes.
Do you know where that old crew was taken to be quarantined?
He says, yes, I do. There's an outbuilding that used to be used as a stables right behind the harbor master's office. The entire crew from the old ship were taken there and locked up.
Okay, I'm ready to discuss our plans.
He goes, all right. He turns behind him, and you notice that the meticulously stacked coins, he reaches out and he begins grabbing stacks of coins and depositing them into pouches. And then he hands each one of you a pouch with 50 gold. He says, by my reckoning, you have 4 hours until sunset. So get to work.
Right.
And he knocks on his desk twice. The door opens and Denz escorts you guys out.
As I'm taking those coins, I look on Captain Leto. You know what I truly want? Please, think about that. I don't take those coins and head away.
He nods. So the 4 of you leave the inn, and you figure you've got about 4 hours until sunset.
Before I leave the inn, I want to buy some bottles of decent wine.
Okay.
So
I'll say you could buy 5 bottles of wine for 10 gold.
Okay. I'll take those.
Okay.
And can I have a carrier?
They, yeah, you know what? They stack it in, they put some hay in the bottom of a little apple barrel, apple crate, and they kind of put them in this wooden apple crate for you.
Hey, thanks.
I want to go do some shopping as well. Get some. What are those tags or spikes that you can throw on the floor? Was it
Caltrops.
Caltrops.
Caltrops. Yeah, that's the one.
And I'm gonna write on my slate and just tap Syllar's shoulder. Just on the slate it says potion ?
Potion. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm asking if Syllar has a potion.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
Hey, tell you what, Syllar, we might need some, we might need some potions. I'll give you this 40 gold here and get some potions that'll like not make us sick from some kind of illness.
You go.
Syllar doesn't have a regular healing potion. I just give him one. I have 2.
And I say, I'll be back. I'm going to find out more about this illness.
Okay. So a bag of caltrops at the general store is 1 gold for 20 of them. 1 gold for a bag of 20 caltrops.
All right. I'm getting 10.
10 bags?
Yeah. Oh, they don't cover that much area, and I want to.
But that's 20 pounds of weight that you're carrying then. Just so bag is 2 pounds.
Yeah. Well, my planning would be to cover the pathway to the ship and toss them there, so anyone chasing us coming after So you need a fair amount to cover that much area.
That's
Okay.
a lot of ouchie.
Why do
Yeah.
you think? Why do you think we will need those?
Well, just to be sure, if people come after us,
Trust
know.
me, we won't need these. The only thing we need is to see which harbor master is in the office.
yeah,
And
but it's going to take time to raise the sails and get on our way. So
we won't be in haste. I'll forge us some papers. I'll assume the face of this harbor master, and we will leave peacefully. You know, this ship is in quarantine, and nobody wants it here. So why wouldn't it be so? Why would it be so extraordinary that the harbor master wants it out of the harbor?
Okay.
well, better safe than
Well,
sorry.
guys, you guys figure that out. I'm gonna go on a I'm gonna find out more about this disease. That's why I bought all this wine. I'm gonna try to sneak around to where the old crew is quarantined and see what's up. Okay. I'll meet you back here maybe in an hour, maybe
Okay,
less.
it's no problem.
Splitting the party, Bill.
I'm okay with that. All right. So, so other than the caltrops, is there anything else that you want to buy, Syllar?
No, not really. I don't think maybe something against seasickness.
Yeah, Angler gave you a potion of healing.
Yeah.
Right.
Very well. Then I will move on to I'm going to do Harley's plan next. So Harley, what is your plan?
Okay, I want to wait till I'm sure there is the harbor master that has his duty during the night. Then I'd like to take Angler and Syllar with me and visit that guy. Maybe knock him out, not kill him. It won't be necessary. We'll knock him out. I'll forge some papers for the ship to leave, and then I'll assume the face or the stature of the harbor master, and off we go.
So how are you finding out which harbor master is on for the night shift? Rewind. What's your plan for that?
Well, probably I would like to assume face of some sailor, and I would like to look around and speak with the people in the harbor. Some innocent questions, you know.
Okay. All right, we will summarize this. I'm going to say for every block of questions, you're going to make you're going to make a deception check. Are you asking these questions to other sailors or to guards? Like, what do you?
Well, I'm speaking mainly with the sailors, like, yeah, hey, what's up? You know, which of the bastards will make our night unpleasant today?
Okay, go ahead and make a deception check.
Okay, deception, it's 13.
Okay, so you find out that at least 2 or 3 sailors seem to indicate that the night watch harbor master for tonight is Finkel. And Finkel is you kind of get the impression that he's very grumpy and impatient, and he's kind of one of the older harbor masters.
A dwarf or a gnome.
Finkel is actually a dwarf. Now
I knew it. The name gave it away.
make another make an investigation check for me this time, Harley.
Okay, investigation. It's good. 20, not net.
Okay. So while you were in this persona and talking to people, you're able to find out a little bit more. And what you were told, what you found out is that there's that this morning when this ship came into harbor, that the captain and first mate of the ship rode into the docks, and they had papers, and the harbor master saw something that was bothersome, that was not correct, and that's why he went with his guards and rowed out to the ship and interrogated the crew, investigated the ship. No one knows what he found, but he sent signal back to have more rowboats brought out to the ship, and guards brought the whole crew back to the docks and escorted them to the stables behind the office, where they were locked up there, and they are under guard watch. You get a lot of rumors about this, that in essence that, you know, some people think like that this crew was like a group of smugglers, and that, you know, the harbor master figured out what they were up to. Some people think that maybe there was some curse that was on them, and some people think that maybe there was some sickness, but no one's really sure exactly why the harbor master made this decision to prohibit the ship from unloading its cargo and coming up to the docks, and also why he locked up the crew. So that's kind of what you were able to find out. So you know that Finkel is scheduled to be and the daytime harbor master, the harbor master who was responsible for making these decisions, was Shaughnessy. And Shaughnessy is a human harbor master. He's typically only works during the day, and he was the one who made the choice to quarantine the crew and prohibit the ship from unloading.
Okay. Probably. I'll ask you. As the changeling racial trait, I can change my appearance, including weight and height. May I impersonate a dwarf or?
Yeah.
Okay. So then there is no problem.
Dwarves, yeah, because dwarves, even though they're shorter, they're technically, I think, medium, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
They're still. So yeah, I'll let that fly.
Okay, so the only question is if we'll wait for this harbor master somewhere around his office, or if he'll find where he's living.
Well, how do you want to go about that? And Angler, what are you doing during this time?
I'm probably near Harley, just hanging out, waiting for a signal to possibly knock someone out.
Are you trying to kind of investigate at all any of this stuff, or?
I can look for the best route to the ship, but that's about it.
Okay, so I will say go ahead and make an investigation check for that as well.
Is the ship tied up to the dock, or is it out in the water?
The ship is out in the water. It's anchored in the water. Okay. At the end of the dock, there are a couple different ways to get out to the ship.
Got a 13.
Okay, so you know that there are rowboats all along the docks that you could jack and take out to the ship. But you also, as you're investigating, you see that there's the guards basically do a rotation where they walk up a dock, they walk down the dock, then they walk over, they walk up to the next dock. So you figure you've got like a window of time, maybe 10 minutes from the point at which they are farthest away at nighttime from the dock that has rowboats where you would be able to row out to the boat. And even then, even if you successfully got your crew loaded into the rowboats, you would probably just be making it out after 10 minutes to the ship when they got back to that dock. So if they didn't notice that the rowboats had been taken, you would be in luck. So that's kind of what you gather while Harley's doing all of his social investigations.
And what's the weather like?
The weather's basically kind of overcast, so it hasn't rained in a little while, but it's not sunny and bright either.
Okay.
So I think we'll wait somewhere around here for the dockmaster. And when the dwarf comes, I'll make you two a little surprise for him.
Okay. At about 7:30, yes, Ushun.
I was going to go interrogate the quarantine people.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm not taking any of my big weapons. I'm not taking my backpack, just a dagger and the crate. I'm looking like I'm delivering it somewhere.
Okay. So you kind of make your way over towards the area. You see where the harbor master's office is, and you see this outbuilding behind it, the stables. The double doors to the stables are closed, and there are 2 guards posted outside of the double doors. There are, let me think about this. There is a second floor window opening with a big timber that's hooked up to a pulley and rope, okay, for bringing stuff up to the second floor of the barn. And it looks like that has not been used in maybe years. But the opening's still there. It's not boarded up. And then on each side of the building, there are 2 windows kind of spread out at like eye level.
Well, I'm just going to walk past the guards and down behind, walk down to the next building, go around that building, come around the back and to the side to one of the windows.
Okay.
And tap on a window.
Okay. You look in, you can see that it looks like what you're looking into looks like a stall, like a horse stall.
Anyone in there?
You don't see anybody in there, but you see other people like in the central part of the barn. You see a few heads of people that look like they're kind of walking, and a couple people that just look like they're standing.
You sailors?
You look in, you see a couple people kind of looking back out at the window at you.
And then I hold up a bottle of wine.
Okay. So they, when you do that, one of them starts walking over towards the window, and he looks like a human. He looks healthy, normal. And you see him come up to the window, and you see him try to like lift the sash, and it's like jammed, like it won't open.
Okay.
And he leans up, and he like kind of puts his hand up to the window, and he says, hey, are those guards out front? And he turns back, and you see him like mouthing something to some other people. And he says, can you get that window open from this side?
I'll try. I take out my dagger and I start scraping away at whatever's keeping it.
All right. Make an athletics check. You're going to try to, so you kind of scrape it out and you're going to try to lift it up.
12.
It's you get the impression that it's secured somehow in another way.
Is there glass in this window?
Yes.
Okay. Now I start scraping away at the putty around the glass.
Okay. You take your time doing that.
And I'll wait for the guy to come back.
Okay. He comes back.
Put your hand up against the glass.
All right, he does.
And I try to push it out without breaking it. And I'm hoping he can catch it on the other side.
Roll a d6 for me. If your roll is within 2 of mine, then it'll succeed.
1.
I rolled a 1, so you succeed. So you push, and he catches it, and you see him grab. He reaches around and grabs, sets it down, and he's like, oh, and you could tell like there's fresh air, and he's like,
yeah,
like
now we're gonna have to put this glass back, so be careful about it, okay? And I hand him a bottle of wine.
He's like, oh, thanks,
and I hand him another.
He drinks some and passes it.
I hand in 5 bottles.
As the windows open now and there's no glare, you see that there's a group of probably between 20 and 30 sailors. Mostly men, mostly humans, but some women, and you see a few maybe half-elves mixed amongst the humans. And you see all of them seem to be like normal looking, healthy looking. And the one guy that's up by you, he says, hey, have you heard anything about why they're keeping us in here?
Oh, that's why I wanted to ask you. You got your quartermaster in here?
No.
Okay.
They separated us. Captain and the first mate and the quartermaster got taken somewhere else when they put us in here.
Okay. So you're just the regular guys?
We're all sailors.
Yeah. Get me someone who was around the cargo that the ship is on.
He leans back. He's like, hey, which one of you guys was around the cargo? And you see, like, there's a few moments that go by. And you notice that, like, he comes back a few moments later and he's like, yeah, I don't think any of us were down in the cargo hold. It was a pretty bare bones crew. Most of us were up on the decks working.
Where was the cargo picked up?
Well, I'm not 100% sure about where the cargo was picked up.
Anything will help. Anything will help.
All of us here got on board at Ulesh. But I don't know if the captain and the first mate and the quartermaster were hired in Ulash or not.
You see any fancy type folk coming on the ship talking to the officers?
No. When we went from Ulash to the coast, this ship, none of us have ever been on it. So, who knows where they ended up hiring anybody from.
So are you guys feeling well?
Yeah, a little hungry. I mean,
Oh, forgot the food. Darn.
They gave us a barrel of apples and a barrel of water. So we sure do appreciate the wine.
I got more. I start handing more in. I give him the whole 10 bottles.
as you are talking, you hear a voice from around the corner, about 30 feet away, and you look over your shoulder and you see one of the guards, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" and
Nothing.
the guy that you're talking to, he quickly like grabs the glass and he kind of starts like wedging it into place. The guard starts walking over towards you, and he hasn't pulled out his weapon, but he's got his hand on his sword, and he says, "You step away from there. These men are in quarantine."
Yes, sir. And I walk away with, I think I handed all the bottles of wine in. So I step away with my crate.
Okay. He follows you for like a block to make sure that you're not doubling back.
Yeah, I just go toward the docks. I walk down the docks. I put the crate down somewhere where there's a bunch of other crates.
Okay.
And I just walk off the docks.
Okay. So at that point, he kind of like circles back and leaves you alone. Smash cuts. It is evening. It's about a half an hour before sundown, and you guys see well, at least Harley and Angler and Syllar, you guys see this dwarf in an official uniform bearing the crest of the city of Flan, kind of on his tunic. He's like marching towards the harbor master's office, and he's like just seems to be like kind of already in a mood.
Grumpy dwarf.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too happy about having to work.
Okay.
Well, before this, I tell them all what I found out from the sailors, and I said the officers are being held elsewhere. So,
yeah. And you guys weren't able to find out where, but you have a good suspicion that if they were imprisoned, then they are probably at the city jail, which is not by the docks. It's kind of in the center of the city, inland.
Okay. I'll wait with my companions outside.
Okay, well, you're waiting.
Probably somewhere outside of the direct view.
Yeah,
and
you guys are about 100 feet away. You are 100 feet away from the office, and you see him walking towards the office, and he's about 60 feet away from you.
Okay,
There are still people like milling around. Like,
okay.
So
I'll change my face and posture to reflect the seaman, and I'll cast invisibility second level on my two companions, Angler and Syllar.
Ushun would be with us too, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
no,
Not at this point?
Oh.
well,
In the evening?
Well, I was going to talk to you about this. I wanted to say, look, thank you for all the information. I want to go to the sailors and tell them the layout of the harbor if they don't already know. And I wanted to discuss some plans, and I want to help them sneak up to the docks. So when you guys are ready, there's a signal.
Wait till we signal you.
Okay.
Come in.
Okay. So preemptively, though, you wanted to talk to the crew that you guys will be smuggling onto the ship.
Yeah.
All right. So what is your plan based on what Angler shared with you about the guard rotations and the rowboats and all that stuff?
Well, I suggest that we wait until, those guards are separated, get those sailors in those rowboats and get them rowing out, see if they can do it quietly. I think they might be able to. Who wants to go with a boat of sailors? Or are we all just going to go out there?
You need a minimum of 3 rowboats to get all of them and you guys onto that ship.
Okay, I'll go on the last rowboat out.
Okay.
So
I was
Just-
planning on staying late as well.
Yeah. So just
Someone,
yeah, maybe
Ready to
yeah,
fuck
maybe you
yourself
should
up.
yeah, maybe you should stay late because you got that bow.
well, probably someone, at least one person, should stay on guard until we return with the papers.
Yeah.
So maybe Syllar.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get the sailors into the harbor at your signal,
Yeah,
and then we'll book it to the rowboats and get out to.
we will
out
signal you
to ship.
promptly. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Angler, you're with me. Then, when I'll speak with the Finkel, I think it's his name.
Yep.
You'll try to knock him out, and we will tie him up. I'll forge some papers. It won't be much work because I think we can find something in his office, and you know, I'll
Take
make a bit of ruckus in the port that I don't want this ship here anymore, and I want to send it away, and then we'll execute the plan. I will give you a signal. Sailors come in. We are off.
All right. So you're going to inform the guards that block the docks that it's okay for us to go up there and leave?
I'll take care of that.
All right.
Okay. So your the first part of that is you said you're going to knock him out. You're going to knock out Finkel and assume his appearance.
Yeah,
And then you're
exactly.
going to, all right, so let's do that. Who's doing the knocking out part?
Likely me.
Okay. So
Well,
you're,
I
Both of them.
cast invisibility on Angler.
okay.
Just to be sure.
Okay. So that will mean that when you make the move, I won't make you make a stealth check. You'll get basically the equivalent of a sneak attack. You're not killing him, right? You're doing non-lethal.
Non-lethal.
Okay, so you're going to get a non-lethal surprise sneak attack. So you get to do your move with advantage because Harley gave you invisibility. So make your roll with it, your attack roll with advantage. A 1 and a 2.
Double ones.
That's for me.
Always possible.
He knocked me instead.
A 7.
7.
1 to 3. Not 1 to 3.
Okay, so the fun part begins. Now, Finkel is not the strongest dwarf, but when you hit him upside the head and it glances off of his head and you appear physically, he's already a pretty angry person. So he turns and swings out to punch you, and he actually has a 17 to hit. Does he succeed?
Yes, he does.
You will take 1 plus 2, so a total of 3 damage.
All right.
Blocks,
Well,
and then he
As he-
says, "Guards!" Now we need to roll.
us.
Now we need to roll initiative. Go ahead, Harley. Roll initiative.
Okay.
That goes for you too, Syllar, and you too, Ushun.
I'm not there.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right.
14.
14 for Harley.
16.
Angler, what do you got?
12.
12. Syllar has 16.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I feel TPK.
No, I'll just get thrown in jail.
Well, I'm still invisible, right? So
You're still invisible until you make a move. You are, yeah.
yeah. So basically, I see him miss, and then I get my.
Yeah, Finkel did not do too well with his initiative. So, Syllar, you see this shit show happen. And I mean, you are in a position where you are invisible. You have not been seen yet, but you did see him yell out for guard.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and punch the guy. Net 20. Huh.
There you go.
There we are.
There you go. All right. What's your strength?
That would be strength would be a +2.
Okay,
So
so
22.
you're going to do 6 damage to Finkel.
Uh,
Nice.
of course.
That's really good for a punch.
Yeah.
Harley, you're up.
Well, okay. As he turned his back to me, I want to strike him with the pommel of my sword.
Okay. You have advantage. Go ahead and roll. Your friends are flanking Finkel, so.
Okay, it's wow. 23.
Oof. Wow. That's definitely a hit. What's your strength?
Well, my strength is -1.
Okay, so you do a damage. Okay, so now, whose turn is it? Angler, it is your turn.
Strike him with the pommel.
Okay,
He's not knocked out yet?
no.
No.
All right.
He's a dwarf. Come on.
Yeah, you guys have done 7.
16 to hit.
16 to hit is enough.
Is that a damage plus sneak attack?
Yes.
Um, 7.
7?
If I'm not trying to kill him, it's just like 1 damage, right?
1 plus your
Plus 1 plus 5.
All right.
So
Okay.
yeah, 7.
He's still up. He is going to grab Harley. Make a athletics check and tell me what the result is.
I'm not very athletic man. 16.
18. He disarms you. He picks up your weapon, and that's all he can do for this round. Back to the top of the order, Syllar. The
Yeah.
dwarf has a weapon, and he doesn't look like he's going to use the pommel of it.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Don't worry, guys. I have a plan.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna.
Give me the subtitle for this entire series. Here you guys.
I've got a cunning plan.
Does this?
My
Thumbnail of
bad,
the video.
guys.
Question: does two-weapon fighting mean I can also throw 2 punches?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna
Make your
double punch.
unarmed attack.
Just gonna go wailing. That's a 4 and then 10.
The 4 is not a hit, but the 10 is.
All right.
It's 10 is AC.
4 and 12. Yeah.
His AC is actually 12. But
No, I rolled an 8 and it's a +4, so it's actually a 6 and then 12.
oh,
I was
So-
adding the strength number to it, but it's 2 hit is +4.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
that's
3 more damage.
yep.
Okay. All right, Harley.
I have a question.
Yes.
He grabbed my weapon, yes?
He basically hit you in the arm and you dropped your weapon. He disarmed you.
Oh, okay.
And with his bonus,
Um,
he picked it up.
okay. Will you give this to me as the bonus action?
Maybe.
May I put my top hat on his head? As the bonus action.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. And as an action, I'll change my appearance to look like him.
Ooh. Okay. Nice. All right. I will let that happen. Engler.
It's a bulletproof.
We'll once again strike with the pommel.
Okay.
18 to hit.
Yep. What's the damage?
Five.
That is enough. You conk him over the head, which is now covered by a top hat, and he falls flat onto his face. Now, here's the most important thing. Harley, roll a d10 and tell me what the number is.
Okay, D10. It's 5.
As the man with the top hat, Finkel, hits the ground, you hear a voice yell from about 30 feet away. Hey, Finkel, what are you doing over there? Is everything okay? And you see a human who's wearing a guard uniform with the padded armor and the emblem of Flan. And he's kind of coming around the corner.
Come here, quick! There's something going on.
Make let's see if you could pull this off. This will be
deception.
This will be a deception. Yeah.
Okay. Fuck me. 10.
Let's see. Maybe he'll buy it, but probably not. All right. So the guard comes over and he's
Well, as I gave that man my weapon and my top hat, maybe I roll.
So he comes over and he looks at you and it's not that he doesn't believe that you are Finkel.
Yeah.
But you do see that he's like looking at the rest of these people, and he's looking at the dwarf who's wearing the clothes of Finkel, but also has a top hat and a sword. And he looks back at you, and he looks at the dwarf, and he looks at everybody else, and he's like, what's going on here?
Those guys here, they tried to investigate about the ship, and I was about to tell them what's going on, and suddenly this guy appeared out of nowhere. He looked like me. Despite the top hat and the sword. We knocked him out.
As you're explaining this, make a performance check. Because your voice, you didn't really have much of a chance to hear.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Calling for guards. So you're going to have to make a performance check. To see if you
17.
Can voice. 17. All right. You complete your web of lies, and the guard is like, well, so he looks at Syllar and Engler, and he says, so you were just happening by and you helped Finkel knock this guy out?
They haven't been happening by. They were here to investigate about that ship. We're quarantined.
Oh.
Are you stupid or something?
So he seems like,
I don't have time for this.
He seems boggled.
Lock this guy somewhere and leave him be. I have to talk to this fine gentleman.
All right, make an intimidation check. You've gone beyond lies, and now you're just flexing. Let's see if you can pull it off.
Give him the grump.
23.
Okay. All right, you flex, and the guard's like, oh, sorry. And should I just drag him somewhere? I mean, and he grabs the wrists of the unconscious actual Finkel, and he starts just dragging him.
gag him, bind him, and throw him in a break.
Brig, what are you? All right. He just starts dragging him towards the office. Okay. What
we will interrogate him when we will have time.
What do you guys do now?
As that guy leaves,
yeah,
I'll immediately start to search for any papers that are here to.
There's no papers. You have to go into a building. He just dragged the dwarf away.
We were in his office, though, right?
You were not in the office. You intercepted him on the way to the office. You were in the middle of the street.
Okay.
So
I'll head to the office.
Yeah.
And if it's unlocked,
it is.
I'll go there.
Okay. You go into the office. There are multiple candles lit, and you see a guard standing in the office and another clerk in the office who is writing some information into a ledger book. And they both look up when you walk in. The clerk looks up and just like looks back down into his book. The guard looks and says, "Geez, Finkel, where's your uniform, man? I mean, do you even care about this job anymore?"
Well, I have to tell you something. I had a very bad day. And now someone tried to impersonate me, tried to kill me, and now I have to deal with this shit here all night. And you're talking about uniform.
Make a deception check.
Okay. 15.
Okay. He's like, yeah, whatever. What else is new? And he just kind of shrugs and goes back to staring at the wall. In the room, you see wall-to-wall shelves. And these shelves mostly contain books that are records of all of the harbor activities.
Okay.
You see 4 desks in this large room and the counter at which the man is writing in the ledger book, but there are 4 desks as well.
Which desk is yours?
Well, I don't have time for this, but I have to check the docs. But I have to tell you something. We need to get rid of this ship. Some douchebag think it's a good idea to quarantine this here. We don't have time for this. We need to get rid of that.
The guard says, well, Shaughnessy made the call on that.
Yeah, and I'm saying I don't want this in my harbor overnight.
Well, but
who knows what can crawl out of that ship? You want to be killed by some eldritch horror or something? What do we know about that ship anyways?
I don't know. What's eldritch horror?
I don't know. I just made it up.
All right. I'm going to let you choose because you're kind of mixing a pack of lies with a whole bunch of intimidation flex. So I'm going to let you choose before you roll. Are you trying to deceive or intimidate your way into convincing this guard that this is a good idea?
Well, I have both deception and intimidation +6, so...
Yes, it's not about the numbers.
It's okay.
Because if you fail and you're trying to intimidate, that's one thing. If you fail and you're trying to deceive, that's another thing. So are you deceiving or intimidating?
Okay. Probably, I want to intimidate him because I'm the head of the harbor for the night.
Yes,
and I'm giving the orders.
Okay, so you make that roll, and I'm going to have them both make.
It's 19, so +6, it's 25.
Okay, that is much higher than both of their rolls. So you see the guard say, He's like, hey, look, if you want to have a beef with Shaughnessy, that's above my pay grade. That's on you. You make the call, that's fine. As long as I'm not getting fired for it. And
I'll deal with Shaughnessy, and you'll get rid of that ship.
He says, all right, fine.
Prepare those papers. I'll get them in 10 minutes.
So
okay?
the clerk is like, oh, okay, calm down, Finkel. Geez,
5 minutes.
And you see the clerk run over to one of the 4 desks and start sorting through. And over his shoulder, he says, it'd be a lot easier to find the papers around here if you guys followed my directions about filing protocols. And he's like very angry. And
who has time for that? I ain't got time for that. Okay, okay, gentlemen, come with me. We'll inspect the docks, and I'll return with the papers.
Okay.
I'm talking to Angler and Syllar.
Okay. So you walk out.
Yeah.
They're there.
So I'm walking with them for approximately 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'll return to the office. Is it already done?
Let me ask you this. While you guys are walking during those 5 minutes, all 3 of you make perception checks.
Okay. I'm not very perceptive, you know that.
12.
9.
3.
So you have noticed that the sun has gone down. Congratulations on your awesome day.
Nice.
That's about it. You're very nervously walking back and forth around the docks. 5 minutes later, you head back to the office. Smash cut over to Ushun.
Okay, I'm getting the sailors ready.
Yeah, so you go
getting
over.
them lined up in the street.
Yeah, you go over to the warehouse where you were told by Captain Leto that they would be. And you see this group of sailors, and there are like 14 of them, and they see you, and one of them walks up and says, "Are you the one that's getting us on the ship?"
Yep.
Are we ready to go yet, or are we waiting until it's darker?
Waiting for the signal.
Okay.
Shouldn't be a problem, but it is. Just haul your ass over to that ship as quietly as you can, and we'll cover you.
You better. And he looks around, and you notice none of them have weapons. Not a single one of them. None of them have armor. None of them have weapons.
Who's the leader of this group here?
I guess that's me.
Right. I'm going to lend you this dagger.
I know enough about piloting a ship and navigating at night using the stars to not crash that ship into the coast.
No.
Not all I know.
This is just I'm lending it to you just until I get on the ship, and then you're going to give it back to me just in case.
Okay, fair enough. He puts it in his belt. Smash cut back to the office. Harley, you go into the office still in your guise as the persona of Finkel. You notice that the clerk turns around as you approach and says, "All right, Finkel, listen, I've got all of Shaughnessy's papers right here. I'm not taking the heat for this. You have to sign."
I'll do that.
This is the order to lift the embargo, and I'm not signing off on it. He sets down a quill and a little well of ink with this paper.
Me.
Yes, you got to find his signature.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think I don't know what's in for me if this backfires? I know that very well. And do you think I care about that punk that's guarding the harbor during the day? You know what's in for us. We have to do the dirty work. We have to guard this ship because of some annoying bastard that thought that the quarantine will be good. Okay, give it to me. And I scribble something very fast
Okay.
on the paper.
Make a deception check. This is so awesome.
21.
21 is good.
21.
All right. So your speech seems to have convinced them. They kind of seem to be on your side or on Finkel's side and not very appreciative of this mess that Shaughnessy has put them in. Now you're going to roll a d6. And I'm not going to tell you what you have to roll until after you roll, but I rolled a 3. So you go ahead, roll.
2.
You have a 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's just see. Okay. So here's what happens. The guard's like, yeah, you know what? Screw Shaughnessy. I'm sick of having to work without getting extra pay. I'm working 10 or 12 hours a day and only getting paid for 8 of it. Damn right. Screw Shaughnessy. And you see the clerk go, like, look at you, sign, and say, like, yeah, whatever. As long as I don't have to sign. And then he takes the sheet and, like, blows on it. And he says, well, it's all done, Finkel. Go ahead. Set him free. And he goes back.
Give those men the papers for departure, and I'll send them off.
He says, well, but why would I give it to them? These are the records that stay here in the port.
Well, guards have to see that we send this ship back.
Well, Jeffrey,
if I'll go there and tell them, they won't believe me. They think I am douchebag.
Of course they'll believe you. You're the harbor master.
Yeah, but they think I am stupid and little.
Jeffrey can go with you, and the clerk points to the guard, and the guard's like, yeah, whatever. I have nothing better to do.
Okay, come with me. We'll send them off.
So what is the signal that you are signaling? Because you go outside with the guard, whose name now you know to be Jeffrey, and you're on basically on the platform that leads to the docks. So what do you guys do now?
Well, I'm just strolling with this Jeffrey, and I'm talking partially to him and partially to Angler and Syllar. Okay, gentlemen, we have a small problem here. You're only 2 and you need a crew. Do you have someone to pilot the ship out of the harbor?
Yes, we do. We have a crew ready. So.
Okay. So, if you'd be so kind to.
Have you sorted things out? Can we now leave?
Yeah, you're off. You're free to go.
All right. Then I'm going to go over and get a crew.
Okay. So you start walking back up onto the land to go get the crew.
Yeah, I'm making a signal like.
Jeffrey just looks at you as Finkel and he's like, so can I go back to the office now, Finkel?
Yeah, whatever. Take a nap. I'll deal with that.
He leaves.
Hey, buddy.
What?
They pay not enough for both of us.
Yeah, you could say that again. And he's
well, I'll head to the office tomorrow. Don't worry.
All right. Sounds good. And
well, I'll see you during the night.
Okay. What is the pace that you are making, Syllar? Are you just like casually walking back to the warehouse? Are you stealth? Are you running?
No, just casual.
Okay. All right.
Not to be too suspicious.
Okay.
What's the signal?
So so you're waiting for the signal, and then all of a sudden you see Syllar walk up. You have dark vision.
Yeah.
Syllar has dark vision. You see Syllar walk up from the darkness towards this warehouse that you're by in just a casual manner.
I thought it was supposed to be a whistle or a light or something.
No, we got it sorted out. We got a pass to go, so we don't have to
Okay.
speak too much. So, all right, fellas, it's time to go. Let's walk.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Are
And we
you
walk like we
Lead the
belong
way,
there.
walk like you all right? So you're not stealthing, you're not running. You guys are just walking like you belong.
Walk like we belong there. Yeah.
Without a hitch.
Okay. So you walk another few minutes back. Meanwhile, Angler, you and Harley are on the docks, and you have any number of rowboats right next to you while you're waiting for the crew and Ushun and Syllar to return. Do you guys do anything, or do you just kind of wait there for?
Well, as it looks, are there any guards? I presume yes.
Go ahead and make perception checks.
I'm not very perceptive.
I ate him.
Oh, 18.
Okay, so you see actually that the normal 2-guard crew that walks up and down the docks, they are about 3 docks away from you. So like they're a good 120 feet away from you. You can basically see them because they're carrying lamps and you're seeing their light, lighting them up, but they are 3 docks away from you.
Okay, so I'm keeping the theater for anyone that may see us and hear us.
Okay.
And I'm strolling and I'm talking to Angler like.
You don't see anybody on the pier on the dock that you guys are currently on.
Yeah, but just to be sure.
You have dark vision?
No, I have
Neither of us have dark
murmur
vision.
with the night vision.
Okay. So, but you don't have any light sources lit right now?
Well, I will prove.
You could see those guards that are far away from you because they're carrying lanterns, but they can't see you because you don't have anything lit up right now, right?
Does the dock have a light?
Exactly.
No, the docks. I mean, it's night, so you've got a little bit of moonlight peeking through the clouds.
So it will be suspicious if we'll be strolling there with no light at all. So I presume I'll take a lantern somewhere around the docks, and I'll walk with a lantern, talking to Angler very, very casually about how the sea.
No, you're going to talk about shoes and ships and sealing wax and cabbages and kings. Yeah.
Exactly.
And oranges, keeping away scurvy.
As you are kind of on the docks,
and I'm putting in a bit of angry tone, as like, I'm glad that the ship will be away.
Okay, so Syllar and Ushun, you guys arrive back to the platform that leads to the docks.
And
make perception rolls.
19.
5.
You Syllar, you hear some rather loud voiced talking from about 30 feet away, like on the other side of the building that you guys are passing by. And it sounds like the voice of a male explaining something. And you understand what's being explained because it's in Dwarvish. And you speak Dwarvish. And you hear this voice say, "I'm telling you, I was attacked. There's something strange going on. You need to check things out." So you hear this as you guys are like approaching the docks.
Yeah.
What do you do?
All right. I semi-whisper. All right. Hurry up, folks. Take up the pace.
Okay. I pick up the pace. Come on, guys. Let's go.
As you guys are moving onto the docks now, so you're running on the wooden platform.
No, we're not running. We're walking like
You're walking on the
people
wooden
on it.
Keep
platform.
walking.
Harley and
Bring me up.
Hitler, you hear the sound of multiple people coming towards you. Harley, your familiar tells you that it's Ushun and Syllar and the sailors that are coming towards you.
How far are they?
They're about 60 feet away.
Hurry there and tell them to be quick.
Okay. You hear a voice near you, Ushun, that sounds like the voice of Harley, but it's like, be quick.
All right. Come on, guys. Get on those rowboats.
Suddenly, from behind you, near the office, you see a very bright light. Any one of you who have seen the cantrip of light, the light cantrip, understand that this looks similar to that. It's magical. But what's different is that there are a whole bundle of these lights that are glowing orbs, and they're flashing in different colors. And they're going in kind of a line down from the office, down the dock towards you guys. And you hear someone yell at the top of their lungs, "That's them! Stop them!" And you see, looking back over your shoulder, you see Finkel, real Finkel, and you see the clerk right behind him. And behind them, you see a group of 10 constables who start running down the docks towards you guys. And that is where the episode of the Moonsea Adventures.
Go, guys!
Find out what happens by subscribing and clicking on that notifications bell so that you don't miss the next adventure. And thanks as always to all of the patrons, all of the supporters and fans. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you for the next episode. Peace out.
Well, hello, it's me, Wizzy. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. And then don't forget to tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and crafting videos and DM tips and pro tips for vlogging and all sorts of gaming things.